It's Valentine's time, and so it seems appropriate to talk about matchmaking.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
That's a great
very
segue.
good
Love it.
tie-in.
yes, exactly. And so bringing buyers and sellers together is the kind of matchmaking we're talking about this morning. Jackie, what do you have in mind here at your new matchmaking service over here on North 4th and Hiawatha and Tomahawk?
Yeah, so with the low inventory, sometimes we have to think outside the box. And I have 2 buyer's agents plus the other 3 agents in the office, and we have buyers that have been struggling to find homes yet. So sometimes we have to look outside the box, and we're always looking for people that would maybe be interested in listing in spring, and they felt like they weren't quite ready. So we just closed one on Monday that was not on the market. Buyer had some interest in finding a home in a certain price range. We knew of somebody that was thinking of selling eventually, and they went and looked at it. They wrote an offer, and we closed on it. So
Just like that.
yeah, just like that. So we have buyer's agents, that whole buyer agency, that's where that kicks in.
Mm-hmm.
You are hiring that agent to find you a home, and they can knock on doors if they want, and, just search out for people that would be interested in selling.
Let's face it, you get a lot of phone calls at the office, I would assume, on both sides of the buying and selling aisles. And so the people that are looking. How does that happen when somebody calls and says, you know what, I might be interested in listing, but I'm not. Take us through that process, because if somebody says, I'm interested in listing, but maybe some other time, I don't want to wait a long time, they may have all kinds of criteria. So what happens when you get a call like that?
Yeah, so we definitely have, we have a big list of people that have reached out. They are getting their prices. They want us to come in, and that's also on our list is, like, what do I have to do to get this ready to sell? Do I need to paint? Do I need to, and this particular person, they just had a lot of stuff, and she's like, she just did not want to put her house on the market with all the clutter and everything.
Right.
She just didn't want to do that, and so she was going to wait, and these people actually knew each other, so it just ended up working out. She was fine letting like one person in her house, but she didn't want the whole rush of people, come in her house. And some people are just very private.
Right.
If you can find them, get them the price that they want, and they don't have to have 10 people come through their house, it just makes them feel more comfortable. So our job is to work with what we have there.
For people that are considering listing, I can probably say this on pretty good authority, that people that want a house really bad right now are not going to judge you or the condition of your house as long as that house is in the price range and exactly what they're looking for.
Right.
Yeah, yep, that is for sure. And most of the time, when people ask me, what do I have to do? I say nothing.
Yeah.
Just list it.
Yeah.
Because especially some people it's just hard for them to get through stuff, and it could be emotional, it could just be emotional thing for them, or they just don't have the time in their schedule. And I would rather have them, just put it on the market. People can see beyond that. They're going to want to paint, and they get excited. You get excited when you buy a new home and you want to put your own flair on it. You want to remodel things the way that you would want. And most of the homes that we're selling are not new homes that are typically, 10, 50 years old.
Yeah.
It's very rare to even find a new construction anymore. So that's for sale. That is. So it works out.
Keith, you must have, you've been in this business long enough, you must have shown a few homes that maybe didn't look like they're ready for Better Homes and Gardens photography, but I bet you still saw enthusiasm from potential buyers in situations like that.
Definitely. Most buyers can look past, everything that's in there, and they kind of get their visual of what they want to do with the house, and they can see past that and understand it. And a lot of times when we're talking about, if walls are fine, and if you paint them white, you're going to want them red. If they're yellow,
Right.
So the paint isn't that big of an issue. Same with the flooring. A lot of people are worried about their flooring. Should I change this flooring? And it's like, chances are you're going to put carpet in, and they're going to want laminate.
Yep.
Or you put laminate, they're going to want tile. So that's not as big a deal right now in this market.
It's the house in and of itself with the price range. That's what really matters.
Yeah, the location, the lot, and the house. That's the three biggest things.
Now, making assumptions is sometimes a dangerous thing, but I'm assuming that a lot of folks are probably up there in years. They've been in this house forever. There's a lot of sentimental value that goes along with that, and there's a lot of work, and maybe the kids aren't handy, and so there's a lot of excuses piling up for people to just stay in those homes. But chances are there might be something even better for them to ride out the rest of this existence on Earth.
Yep.
There might be a better place to go. So I think the best thing to do is just, Jackie, pick up the phone and start talking.
Exactly. It all starts with a conversation, and especially people that have been in their home for that long, they have no idea what it's worth right now.
Yeah.
And it's a lot more than they could probably ever even imagine.
Yeah.
If you've been in your house for over 30 years, the equity that you probably have in it is grown exponentially. So,
and almost in any kind of shape, I would think too. As long as it's got decent bones, there's not huge chunks of walls falling out or anything like that. Put that thing on the market; it'll go fast.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is the market is still that active. And we have some great new tools. We talked about, the technology last time we were here. And I've been playing even more with the whole staging. There's such great things out there. We've been, we listed a house on Highway Y. It was just brand new construction, but it was like nothing in it. And it just is so hard for people to visualize. And we virtually staged it. And I had the seller call me, and he was like, if I'd have known you were going to move all that furniture in, I would have left the dolly there for you. He really thought I moved all of the furniture in the house.
Really? So
because
it's AI stuff.
Yeah, it looked that realistic. It was amazing. And I would love to know where I could buy the furniture that I put in there, because I absolutely loved it. I'm like, boy, I could be a really furniture salesman if I could find these things, because it just fit the house. It was amazing. And you can take, the house that we just closed had some pretty crazy paint in one of the bedrooms. So you can actually take, I wouldn't do this for the MLS, but you can, to show a buyer what they could do. I mean, you can take the walls and make them a different color. You can put, a different flooring in there. You could put wood in there. You could put, more tile, and you can switch that out and show people this is what it could look like. And it kind of helps them visualize. Some people are not visual people, and so that if you can use that tool to show them what they could do with a home, it just makes them feel a little better about, or get excited about the remodeling of it.
But don't show that to a potential seller, because then they may think, hey, I might just stay right here.
Right.
That looks awful good. So, but it takes two. It takes two parties for matchmaking. We're coming here from the seller standpoint. When it comes to the buyer standpoint, that's the other side. And Jackie, somebody this 2 weeks ago, maybe at the longest, maybe it wasn't even that long, somebody said, why did you get with all the technology out there, why did you feel the need to get a buyer's agent? It was a very easy answer, because I'm not in the business. Yeah, I can look at stuff online, but I'm not in the business every day. The people that are in business every day know a lot more than what we can find online, and I wanted to put every advantage into my corner, and that's why we called Northwoods Community Realty.
Yeah, and it's great to have that expertise when it comes to something that can go wrong in a transaction. And we have, multiple deals that, there's these little things that come up, and all of a sudden, you just have to know how to handle them. And, a lot of the things that are going on right now, we have, and it's on our list too, is, about septics and wells and what they can do in wintertime. And, just helping a buyer through that process, to, like, you're going to have to watch for this, and, don't go over your septic.
That's the main part. How many times were we out on a lot somewhere, and I said, oh boy, I don't know if I like that or not, and you either brought me down or said, yeah, maybe that is a concern, because you have you have all the knowledge, you have it right there. You don't have to wait and look into something. You can answer questions right there on the spot. That's the other great tool to have in your toolbox.
Yeah, and it's years of experience. I'm very fortunate to have bought and sold many homes and built homes, and our staff, have been through those processes, we're in those professions. So that knowledge is certainly one of the things that I feel like sets us apart.
Yeah, and Keith, in your former life, you did a whole lot of that, didn't you?
Yes, definitely in the building process from start to finish. So we got to see everything. And when you look at winters like this, where we don't have a lot of snow, but we've got cold and that frost, I believe, is down like 40 inches right now.
Okay.
You know, that makes a huge difference on a septic.
Yeah.
Even simply just driving your four-wheeler or snowmobile over something can drive that frost down another foot.
Yeah, let's talk about that. And that's where home warranties come in, too. If you're going to buy a house this time of year, home warranties are very important. But, yeah, you guys are out there in the field every single day. And with the weather that we're having, it's been so doggone cold. We've had such very little snowfall. Snow is insulation this time of year for our septics. And without that insulation, our septics can be in jeopardy. What are you guys seeing out there?
We're seeing especially houses that aren't lived in full-time. You know, if you're living in a house and it's cold, but you're always taking showers and flushing water into that septic, it creates the heat, and it'll fight off that frost. When it's nobody's in there, nobody's using it for weeks at a time, that frost can get down there, and then that whole septic tank can start to get really cold. And then that's when they freeze up, you know, a lot more, because they're not being used and they're not generating their own heat inside there.
Because in my rational mind, because I don't know how these things work, then I still go back and say, well, how can me walking across the drain field there cause any issues? How can that possibly be? How can that possibly be?
So, like, if there is, let's say there's a couple inches of snow on the ground insulating that, when you compact that down, then it's basically like nothing.
Okay.
So now that frost can go down even further.
Got it.
Yeah.
And so deep frost means problems with that. A lot of that stuff is either PVC or cement, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they don't like the cold.
No.
So what do people do about it?
A lot of people I've seen put hay over the top, or straw over the drain fields, over the septic area, rope them off just to ensure that nothing is going to go over there.
Let's say that a neighbor has a place next door to them, and the folks aren't there most of the winter time. And what will they? Is there any way you can tell that there's a bad thing happening under the ground this time of year?
Unfortunately, no.
You don't. Okay, so neighbors can't even see it.
Up. Right.
Okay.
I mean, really.
So in the spring, you're going to go in there, open up the house. What's going to happen?
It depends when they come up. If they come up, they'll open it up, and there's still frost in the ground, that could still be frozen.
Okay.
So then, like if it freezes now, then you have to get a plumber or a septic guy that can steam, and they'll run hot steam through those lines.
Okay.
To thaw them.
And also dealing with contractors lately, it's not often you can find a contractor who can come out and take care of it immediately. And that's the kind of situation you don't want to sit on. You want that done ASAP, and that might be hard to find somebody to do it right away.
Right, exactly. Especially if we have a cold snap like this and they're getting a ton of calls. You know, at the same time.
Right.
Or same in the spring when they're opening up all their cottages and find issues there, then it's tough to get contractors.
Generally speaking in life, being proactive is the best way to go, especially when it comes to septic in wintertime and not being there. Jackie, anything that you would add to this part of the conversation?
Yeah, and sometimes if it's a second home and the previous owner just didn't even use it in the wintertime, and so many of our people, they're like, can you use this in the wintertime? And I'm like, well, you can do anything.
Yeah.
But it just depends on you're going to find out on the first winter. And if you're not coming up regularly and the previous seller has never used it in the wintertime, that's where the unknown is, if you are going to have issues. And you might have years where you have a lot of snow and you've never had a problem. But it's the year that we don't have the snow that the seller might have never had a problem, because they never owned it when we didn't have any snow and we had the frigid cold weather. So, the other thing I've seen, we talked about roping off an area or haying. Those are all great things to do, especially if you've had it happen.
Oh yeah.
You better, just
take care of it every year.
Take care of it every year. Just get some hay, throw it on there. Maybe use those stakes to stake off that area, because even I've seen people that they've have their pets. That's where they let their pet out, and the pet has constantly gone in this, walked the same path, and
the liquid wears down the snow fast too.
Well, just even them running around in that area, so those are things you just don't even think about until you have the problem.
We only have about 3 minutes left here, so the way that buyers protect themselves is with a home warranty. How do you explain a home warranty, Jackie?
Yeah, so we want to offer a free home warranty of anybody that lists in the next month. just to have that level of protection. It's always great to provide a buyer with a home warranty, gives them a level of protection. And for the seller that, if something like this would happen, that would be covered under home warranty. And then you can just feel better at closing that if something goes wrong, it's going to be taken care of. The buyer's not coming back and looking at you and trying to blame or be upset about it. It's always nice when that stuff is covered.
So you can protect yourself. Real quick here, 2 minutes, 2024 MLS stats. I'm hoping it's good news.
Yeah, it is good news. We're going to be posting some stuff out there on Facebook. It's always interesting to get the year-end stats, and the year-end is that the sales were actually up 7% overall dollar volume, and so we were definitely up this year versus last year. You can't sell what you don't have.
Right.
So the good news is there's more and more listings that have been coming on the market, and there are less and less buyers. And at some point, this is going to level out, I feel, because we went from cash, no contingencies, no financing, to most of our deals right now have some inspections and they have financing.
Yep. More back to normal.
More back to normal, and that definitely brings another level of our expertise, because now as a seller you have to work through. We've had appraisals not come back lately, multiple of them. So now, and then you got to go back to negotiations. And so there's all kinds of fun things that come with financing and inspections.
Yep.
Always a good idea to have a professional working for you, no matter what is in life. The pros that are there every day, they can help protect you and they can get the job done. Northwoods Community Realty right here in Tomahawk. There's an office in Lake Tomahawk as well, and so great folks to work with. And before I let you two go, I got to ask you a very important question. It's a big weekend coming up here.
Yes.
Big game coming up on Sunday. So I'll ask you, Keith, first. Not who do you got in the game. Will Travis propose or not?
Oh, God.
That's the most important part about Sunday, isn't it?
I'm going to say no, because they're going to end up losing.
I agree with that.
So, Chiefs are going to lose.
Yeah.
Trav's going to be in a bad mood. Taylor's going to have to cheer him up and have to figure out the proposal.
So we'll
some
have
other
a whole
time.
nother NFL season next year of the same
same stuff. And the NFL loves it. Same thing, Jackie?
Good for them. Yeah. Same thing.
I say leave the lovebirds alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, just leave them alone. Let them
Agreed.
be them. Well, I hope the both of you have a very nice Valentine's Day next week, and we'll see you again next month. And thank you both very much for what you do.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Jeff.
Northwoods Community Realty right here in Tomahawk, and you can see them online, northwoodscommunityrealty.com. Got it.